planning on doing this until later on tonight, but I am severely crunched for time, guys. If I don't try to get it out now, chances are the live probably wouldn't have got done today. So we're just going to see how this goes, guys. I'm going to say this right out the gate before we even get started today. There's been a lot of stuff going on today in my apartment building with my neighbors and stuff like that, guys. So with that being said, we're just going to see how this goes. If it gets too crazy and chaotic, we might have to postpone it, but we already got this one twisted up, so we're not going to waste too much time today. I'm going to sit here and chop it up with y'all for a few minutes, give the Savages plenty and ample time to join in. Anybody that wants to see the review for the Syrupz from Klutch Cannabis, guys, a lot of people were equally as excited to see the review for this as they were for the Rainbow Ice, and let me just go ahead and say this, y'all. The Rainbow Ice was absolutely dumb, stupid fire when I tried it for you guys live yesterday. I rolled one more of those, I rolled one more doobie of the Rainbow Ice before I actually ended up going to bed last night. And dude, if it was a 9.1 out of 10 when I first tried it out live yesterday, when I tried it out for the second time, it was even better, Savage Army, primarily when it comes to the flavor department, man. It was tasting just scrumptious, chef's kiss, absolutely beautiful, divine, and delectable. So I am pretty excited to see what this is actually going to end up tasting like as well, for a couple reasons, guys. We're going to get into that here in just a second. I'll give you guys time to pour on in here to the stream, and we're just going to have a decently chill time here. Somebody said grab a beer. Good sir, I haven't drank alcohol in any capacity, beer, liquor, wine, or anything else for that matter. And dude, how long's it been since I actually have like drank consistently every single day? I want to say, man, like 5 to 6 years. It's been a long period of time, so long, in fact, I honestly don't even remember off the top of my dome piece. But the Savage actually used to, at one point in time, be a full-fledged alcoholic. Savage Army, I used to drink every single day to the extent, now this is going to sound crazy, man, but since this individual just brought it up, Day One Savage, Hubalicious, what's going on with you, my brother, man? And first and foremost, any of my Savages who are joining in, who are actually like really excited to see this review, I never get sick of seeing this Savage Army. That is literally never going to change. Feel free, drop it down in the comment section what you guys are going to be roasting on. And if any of you guys in the chat and the collective today have actually had the pleasure of trying the Syrupz already, go ahead and drop that down in the comments and let me know what you guys thought about it, man. For anybody that's just joining, I was just kind of telling you guys, man, how the Rainbow Ice, right? We gave it a 9.1 out of 10 when we first covered it yesterday live. First time I ever tried it, live reaction, right? I rolled up one more doobie of that stuff before I actually went to bed last night. Dude, it was even better than the first time that we tried it, guys. It was absolutely phenomenal, and I actually did taste just a little bit of that ice cream kizzy. Primarily, I will admit, on the back end, it still wasn't like overbearing or anything. It's definitely not a sweet tasting strain. If anything, it's more on like the sour tart candy side of things for sure. But dude, if it tasted good the first time, the second time, absolutely dumb, stupid, ridiculous, Savage Army. And I'm kind of excited too, because we already got one of these boys twisted up. We're going to go ahead and do everything we normally do. We're going to go ahead and give it the good old nose test, go over all the product fact and information and the in-depth and detailed description on the website. But I'm kind of crunched for time today, Savage Army, and I definitely wanted to make sure that we ended up getting this live stream out. So we're not going to waste too much time in the beginning of the stream here chopping it up like I normally would. Normally, especially for the session reviews and stuff, I would kind of personally prefer to chop it up for the first like 20 to 30 minutes at least, so we can try and kind of like duck and avoid getting age restricted. But if I'm being honest, guys, I tried to do that yesterday. We didn't even start talking about cannabis really or showing anything until like 35 minutes into the stream, and they still ended up age restricting the stream. So it really doesn't matter at the end of the day, especially now because YouTube is using AI bots to kind of peer review every single piece of content that gets uploaded. It really is a shot in the dark as to whether or not your cannabis content, no matter what you're doing cannabis related, ends up getting age restricted or not. So for this one, we're just kind of testing the waters and experimenting a little bit. We've already got this twisted up, and by the time we hit the 20-minute mark, fingers crossed, we're already going to have this puppy sparked up, Savage Army. So let's see here, man. But anyway, to finish answering the guy's question, where actually it wasn't a question, it was just straight up a statement about grabbing a beer. I used to be such an alcoholic at one point in time that I would literally go to the store and buy my alcohol so I knew that it was in my fridge while I was at work until I got off of work. How absolutely insane and ridiculous is that? So coming from those humble times and humble beginnings, right, as an adult man, I don't think there is any type of circumstance that could ever possibly lead me back to drinking alcohol. I mean, seriously, especially alcohol, guys. I was done with that before I even quit, if that makes any type of sense. So now that the Holy Spirit and the Lord Jesus Christ has broken the chains and bondage of addiction to hard drugs and alcohol, I don't see anything ever motivating me to go back to that type of lifestyle, guys. Most people, percentage-wise, never get out of that type of lifestyle. And I already know where some people are going to be like, well, why are you hitting weed then? When people see me hitting weed, they automatically assume that I'm addicted to marijuana, which a lot of you guys, if you've been following me for a while, know that's not the case. We just took like what? If you combine both breaks together, like 4 months total off of marijuana. This is the first time I've used my medical card in like the last 2.5 months, Savage Army. Sheesh. So with all that stuff being said, guys, we got Hoobalicious up in here, Inked Up Jesus up in here already as well. So for any one of you guys that are watching right now, I truly hope and pray that so far your Sunday has been treating you well, that you guys are in a blessed and positive attitude, even if you're going through difficult circumstances, and that over the course of the day, if you guys have not done it yet, at least one person that comes across you in your path before the end of the day, that you do something, right? It doesn't have to be giving people money. In fact, that's one of like the least common ways to be able to actually make somebody's day so much brighter and so much better, guys. Give somebody a compliment. Tell somebody thank you for something. Open up the door for somebody if you're going to the grocery store or something. Just the littlest things can make somebody's day, guys, because we don't understand a lot of the time that even with the smallest of gestures, what you're really showing other people is that they are noticed and that they're being acknowledged, which most people in today's society and generation feel like they're never acknowledged for anything. A lot of people feel like they're invisible to the rest of the world. So the smallest of gestures go so far, guys, it's literally not even funny. So in a couple minutes here after we catch up with chat and everything, Savage Army, we're going to go ahead and go on over to the Klutch Cannabis website. Go ahead and go over the in-depth and detailed description they have for the syrups on the website, which here's the most interesting thing about the syrups to the Savage already before we even tried this stuff out, right? When I first seen this on the menu and picked it up, I initially was expecting this to kind of have like a maple syrup type of vibe or like waffles or something like that, right? When you first see the name Syrupz, isn't that like the very first thing that kind of gravitates towards the center of your mind? This does not smell like maple syrup literally whatsoever. And when we go over the cross on the genetics for this one, it's going to make a lot more sense why it doesn't smell like that. And also what they're actually going for when they came up with the name Syrupz. It's not what you guys think, or at least what most people are probably going to think. If anybody in the chat can guess right now what they're referring to with the name Syrupz before we actually give it away, I'm going to be kind of impressed, guys, because for me personally, before I actually knew what the genetics were on this, cracked it, smelled it in the whole 9 yards, I really couldn't piece together what they were going for when they named this stuff syrup. So that's going to be exciting here in a couple of minutes. Hoobalicious said, I'm just tossing it out there, man. Off the looks, I think the Syrupz is going to be better than the Rainbow Ice. I'm just saying. So I already went ahead and twisted up a doobie of this stuff. We are going to go ahead and crack the convertible top on this jar and give you guys a proper nose test here in just a second. But I'm going to tell you guys right out the gate straight away, just on the feel of the consistency of the flour, the way that it actually felt when I was twisting this stuff up, right? It's a little bit fluffier than the Rainbow Ice, I would say, in a ratio perspective. I would have to give like the denser flour over to the Rainbow Ice. You guys know me personally. I typically like denser nugs than I would fluffy. But here, this stuff is smelling so absolutely immaculate. I don't think it's really going to matter all that much in the end anyway. And whereas the Rainbow Ice had absolutely zero snap to the nuggets, like literally zero snap, if anything, when I broke that nug in half, it seemed like it was literally peeling apart. It definitely was not snapping. So already off rip, the syrup seems to be ever so slightly cured more than the Rainbow Ice, because when I grinded down the flour to roll this J, the nuggets actually did have a snap. Now, does that mean that the nuggets are dry? Absolutely not. This stuff is, I don't want to say just as sticky as the Rainbow Ice, because that would be a bull-faced lie, right? It's not as sticky as the Rainbow Ice, but it's just ever so slightly underneath of that, if that makes any type of sense, guys. So same here, Day One Savage, Hoobalicious. Ever since I first smelled what this stuff smells like, the aroma itself, Dude, I was super excited ever since then. The only reason I was more excited to try out the Rainbow Ice than the Syrupz is that THC percentage, man. The Rainbow Ice was coming in at literally almost approaching 32% baseline, right? If I go ahead and just glance here at the back of this jar, this stuff is capping out at just underneath 24%. So most of the reason I was excited to try that over this, not just the cross on that one, it sounded absolutely ridiculous, but also the strength of it. And I will seriously attest to that, guys. It felt like it was a 30%er for sure. The effects really lingered for like 3 hours after I got done doing that review for you guys yesterday, which is kind of crazy. That's like double the amount of time that effects would usually last on me personally for the Savage after roasting a decent size J. Same size J for this one as the one that we covered for you guys yesterday. It's not massive. It's not small. If anything, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, Savage Army, I think I rolled this one pretty well. So before we even get into this, guys, if anyone's just joining the chat and joining the stream, if you guys enjoyed this video or this live stream at any given point in time during the review, hit the channel with some Savage positivity, double click the screen to hit it with a big fat juicy Savage thumbs up, drop it down in the comment section where you guys are twisting up on this absolutely fine, blessed, and divine Sunday afternoon, and let's just go ahead and get this started, y'all. While I'm sitting here catching up with the rest of the comments, give me just a second, guys, bear with me. Let me go ahead and pull up Klutch Cannabis's website, and we're just going to go ahead and dig straight into the review today, guys. And anybody that's not able to catch the live stream while we're actually doing it live, you can always go back and watch the live stream on replay, just like it was basically like a regular long form video, which I'm thinking of doing the MMJ review sometime in the future when I get a new camera. Right now, the camera I'm working with, I literally have no capacity to do it long form style like I always did in the past, but I'm thinking as long as you guys prefer the long form videos to do the reviews long form style in the future, that way we can kind of just get straight to the point without trying to duck and dodge the age restriction and all these different types of things, guys, that at the end of the day, I kind of want to just get straight to the point. When we're talking about the MMJ reviews, guys, having to talk for 30, 40 minutes about whatever else just to try and avoid that age restriction, sometimes when I'm crunched on time like I am today, it just makes it a lot more difficult to try and get this extra stuff out there for all the people that have been patiently waiting for this stuff for so long, guys. And first and foremost, guys, if you're just joining the channel or you've been waiting on the reviews to come back, drop it in the comment section, man. Let's go. The reviews, dude, this has been such a long time coming. I slightly brought them back for a little bit around the time of 420, but I wasn't quite ready to bring them back like to stay, if that makes any type of sense, guys. The unseen battles that I was personally going through just in the last 2 months alone that the channel doesn't get to see, dude, from all the stuff that I was dealing with the last 2 months to get me to the place in the position today that I'm even able to do stuff like this, you already know what I'm about to say, man. We got to give all the glory and praise, excuse me, where credit is due to the Most High God and his son, Jesus Christ. If it wasn't for Jesus, Average Savage wouldn't even be here able to do this stuff in the first place. And for any people that are targeted, just in case we have a TI watching the stream today, you never know, man. I have so many different audiences on the channel at this point. We have all walks of life, no matter what we're talking about. If you guys are still in the middle of that targeting, just real quick, we're not going to be talking about this long today, okay? If you're wondering if you're ever going to get your life back, let this live stream be the answer to that question. Because he didn't just give me my life back. He gave me so much more, man. All the stuff that I've learned over the last year and a half through dealing with all that absolutely wicked and crazy stuff. I'm the best version of myself that I've literally ever been. And I finally understand at this point, and I've understood this for some time. If I didn't go through that hard stuff, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I'd still be the same version of Average Savage as when I started this channel. I wouldn't have traded that growth and those tests for absolutely anything. So even if you're not in targeting, right? Even if you're not dealing with harassment like that from satanic ritual abuse, no matter what type of oppression you're dealing with in your day-to-day life, on some level, we're all dealing with something. I've never met one single person in my entire life that hasn't been dealing with anything difficult their entire life. Normally, everybody is going through some type of adversity, right? If you are going through something like that right now and you have doubt in your mind that God has forgotten about you or abandoned you or that he is punishing you for something you didn't even do, you're feeling like Job right now, Savage Army, it's for a reason and it is for a purpose. But with that being said, man, in the name of Jesus Christ, I want to thank my Lord for even gathering everybody here today and giving me the position and the ability to do this live stream. I pray that somebody's heart gets touched with what we talk about today. And in the name of Jesus, I just thank you, my Lord, and amen, okay? So, with that being said, YouTube family, let me go ahead and pull this up and we're going to get straight on into it, man. Let's see here. Sometimes, dude, the website for Klutch Cannabis wants to be finicky. A lot of the time it works pretty well, but sometimes, man, I have problems trying to load this up. And we actually got pretty lucky today. So let me go ahead and just straight up get into it. Let me type this in, guys, so we don't spend too much time trying to find it here. Because they have so much new stuff on the menu. It's not even funny, son. It's not even funny. Looking at the menu for Klutch Cannabis today, compared to when I first started doing reviews, it's night and day, Savage Army. And I do not say that lightly. It is literally night and day. The variety, the aesthetic of the brand and the website and just everything, their packaging game. They have come so far in the last like 3 years. It's literally not even funny, man. I've had a lot of people say lately, ever since we started doing this stuff again, which really we just started doing it about a week ago, that Klutch Cannabis seems to have went downhill for a little bit. And are they back? Well, if this is 2 for 2, guys, I don't know, man. We're going to be really excited if this one ends up getting a tippy top shelf rating, and that's what we're here to find out. So, regular baseline without the medical discount, if you picked up a 3.5 gram jar of the Syrupz from Klutch, if you went right down there today, they're not running the same promotional sale that they were running when I picked this up a couple days ago. This would be running you $45 plus tax. Now, it's kind of debatable, right? Even if it's some of the best flower on the face of God's green earth, right? Is it justifying the price point of $45 plus tax? You might as well say that's a $50 eighth. To be 100% honest with you guys, if you look at any of the other legal markets for any other legal state that does medical or recreational, or maybe they do both like the state of Ohio, you go to the top shelf offerings for most of these states, right? You're going to find that most states carry $50 top shelf eighths, okay? So it's kind of in line with basically the West Coast, even a lot of dispensaries that I've seen and looked at the website for the East Coast and stuff of this nature. So it's kind of in line with that. Now, for my personal and humble opinion, is $50 an eighth worth some of the best weed that money can buy? If this ends up roasting, like I'm hoping it ends up roasting, right? Like some peak Klutch Cannabis, okay? Consistent, fire, loud, terpy, and flavorful, Clizzity Klutch Cannabis. That's what we're hoping for. If it achieves the best quality that it can possibly achieve, at that point, is it worth $50 for a 3.5? Well, to be 100% honest with you, Savages, it kind of depends on your perspective and your mindset going into the purchase, right? What are you purchasing this flower for? Is it purely for the medicine side of things? Is it purely because you're looking for good medicine? $50 an eighth? I don't know. Maybe you would be able to find, and I would say maybe, but probably would be the case, that probably you would be able to find other medicine for maybe even half that price that alleviates the same symptoms that this flower would be alleviating. So if you're going into it just strictly based on that viewpoint and that mindset, maybe $50 for a 3.5 isn't really going to tickle your fancy, right? But if you're a connoisseur like me, like the Savage, right, and like a lot of people that tune in to watch these reviews, I'm not picking this up just for the relief, right, or the medicinal side of things. I'm picking this up because I enjoy trying the best of the best. I enjoy trying small batch flower. I enjoy spending maybe a little bit of extra money for the same amount that I would be able to get. A lot of people, Savage Army, let's just be real, are not even going to the dispo. They're still buying all their THC and cannabis products on the black market, which I would strongly encourage you guys to not do, especially since in 2026, I can only speak for the state of Ohio, but they seem to be cracking down on a lot of these THC hemp and cannabis laws. If you get caught with an open container of cannabis in the state of Ohio, even if you have a medical card, right, and it's not the original stuff that was in its original package, you're going to get hit with a charge. They just changed that not that long ago, guys, not even a full 12 months ago. And that's just one thing they changed. So if you're doing stuff like that, right, not to get too off topic, I would definitely encourage you guys to probably stop. Go ahead and look into getting your medical card. Look, if Hoobalicious is still in here, he didn't want to get a medical card for a really long time. And when he finally ended up getting it, so worth it. I'm sure Hoobalicious can attest to that, right? I feel the same way. I didn't want to get a medical card for a long time. So because of that, I wasted money, right? Getting poop soup on the street from the black market for way longer than I should have. Actually have a horror story right before I first got my medical card. My original and initial drug counselor when I first went into rehab was actually the person that actually finally motivated me to take the final push to get my medical card and to stop buying cannabis and hemp on the street, because I had such a horrific experience the last time I got weed on the street from somebody that I really didn't know like that, and it was laced with hard drugs. We're not going to get too into that, Savage Savage Army. But after that, that was the last straw for me personally. And then ever since, I've had my medical card, which now I think is running at least 3 years for the last 3 years straight. And the little bit of money that you're going to spend up front to get your med card by the end of the year, because let's not forget, right? If you get your med card, you're at least getting that subscription for a year. The prescription lasts for at least 12 months. That's like the minimum amount of time that you can get your med card for and approved for. By the end of that first year, you're going to save so much more money than you initially put up front just to get your med card. It's literally not even funny. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. We will cover more stuff like that in an upcoming stream, or maybe we're not doing a review. We're just doing some like regular chit chatting and stuff like that. But I'm telling you guys, if you do not have your medical card, it is so worth it. It's not even funny. But with that being said, let's go ahead and see what Klutch Cannabis themselves have to say about this Syrupz. And the first thing I'm going to let you guys know right now out the gate is the cross on this, man. And the cross is what initially got me super excited to try this out, besides just the name. The name alone had me excited, but when I seen what is crossed in this, that's what actually pushed me over the edge to actually picking this stuff up over some of the other new stuff. They have so many new things right now, guys. It's literally not even funny. We could only pick a couple for the weekend's reviews. This is what set it over the top. This is a cross of baseline regular degular runts, okay? And I'm not even that huge of a fan of runts, if I'm being honest, but listen to the rest of this, right? The lineage. Runts cross Great Pie, cross Miracle Alien Cookie. Great Pie, Runts, and Miracle Alien Cookie. Miracle Alien Cookie is one of my favorite strains literally of all time. And the cut from Klutch Cannabis is specifically my favorite batch of Mac literally of all time. It's the Capillator's cut, the original cut of Alien Cookie, the Mizzity Mac one. Absolutely dumb, stupid, fire, ridiculous, man. It's got that nice mustiness. It's a little bit sweaty. Usually the Mac one by itself is quite cheesy as well. So to cross that with something that's fruity, absolutely ridiculous, guys. Now that you know the cross on the genetics, does it seem to make a little bit more sense why they called this Syrupz? I don't think they named it Syrupz because it's supposed to kind of like correspond to maple syrup or like pancakes or waffles. I think it's called Syrupz because it's supposed to correlate to like purple drank. Now, if you guys know, you know, right? If you're in the culture literally whatsoever, I think Syrupz is supposed to refer to like lean. Why lean? Because this is a Great Pie cross. Once we crack into this and I explain this to you guys, it smells super grapey, like a really funky grape type of aroma with some candy in there at the same time. It smells ridiculously grapey, and most of the times when you see people drinking lean, something that I would personally never do, right, at this stage of my life, but when I was on heroin, if lean was around, we probably would have took it, you know what I mean, before I actually went into rehab and actually got sober, right? So I don't condone anyone drinking lean, right? But I think that's what they were going for when they actually named this strain Syrupz. So now that we got that beat up and busted out the way, guys, I thought that was actually kind of interesting, just a little bit of backstory when it comes to the lineage and the genetics. Let's see what they got to say here, man. This is bred by Canorado Genetics. I've never heard of that company literally whatsoever. If any of you guys have, let me know in the comment section, okay? This is bred by Canorado Genetics and sold in other markets under a slightly more evanescent namesake. Syrupz is a hybrid cross of Runts and Great Pie cross Miracle Alien Cookie. This striking cultivar exhibits bright green flowers with occasional deep purple highlights beneath a thick blanket of frosty white trike and vibrant orange pistils. True to its lineage, Syrupz opens with rich aromas of sweet grape, dark berries, and citrusy brightness, layered over more subtle notes of black pepper and pungent fuel as the flower is broken down. I can kind of attest to that as well, guys. When I broke that flower down to twist this puppy up, there was like, I don't know if I would personally describe it as smelling like black pepper, but there definitely was like a sweaty type of funk there. That's almost like hard to describe. When I say like sweaty funk, that doesn't necessarily do it justice. If it translates like that perfectly into the actual flavor, we'll come up with a more spot-on description of exactly what this is given when it comes to the terpene profile, guys. But just off the nose, I don't know if I would say peppery, right? And we do use that to describe certain aromas. I would more so say like sweaty funk with a little bit of must, like mixed together, all of that combined, right? kind of coming up with its very own aroma, coming more so in on the back end. And at the same time, it almost smells like grape Kool-Aid powder with that runts just ever so slightly. Just off the aroma, I can tell you guys right now, it doesn't smell a crazy amount like runts. I'm just going to be 100% honest, just for anybody that was excited for this because they're really a big fan of runts. That might be a slight disappointment, but where it's lacking in the runts, you can smell that grape pie like literally nobody's business, guys. And then that peppery funkiness that they're talking about coming in off the back end after you shred it down, most likely coming from the lineage and the genetics of the Miracle Alien Cookie, because that is like a staple descriptor, right, of the terpene profile of the Mac. Absolutely phenomenal. The only thing that I'm not picking up here when it comes to Mac is the cheesiness, which kind of disappointing, a little bit, Savage Army, because if I'm being real, this is a personal opinion. My favorite thing about Mac 1 is the cheese. I love the cheesy flavor. I love the cheesy nose and the aroma, especially since they took the blue cheese away like over 2 years ago, and I don't think it's ever going to come back. Fingers crossed. I don't want to say ever or jinx it, right, because that would just be absolutely phenomenal if they did bring that back, but it's kind of lacking, at least in the nose, when it comes to the cheesy terp, okay? But with that being said, these aromas translate beautifully to the strain's flavor, delivering a smooth, fruit-forward profile of very sweet grape and ripe citrus, layered over subtle earth, light gas, and a touch of pepper on the finish. Fans of fruit-forward cultivars with a little extra depth and a balanced dose of classic gas will find plenty to appreciate in this extremely flavorful offering. And here's the most exciting part, right? Akin to the website, let me go ahead and bring you guys in and show you why this is so cool. If you go over to Klutch's website, they actually break down and kind of simplify percentage form the overall terpene percentage of that strain in question, right? Where they don't do that on the back of the jar itself, which you guys are going to see here in just a second. So yesterday, the rainbow, what was that called? The rainbow ice, right? The ice cream cake cross with the rainbow belts was almost approaching 2% total terp. So even just based off the percentage here, it seems like this one is supposedly a little bit underneath the rainbow ice. Not by a whole lot, guys, by like half a point for the percentage here. It's coming in at almost 1.4. Still not terrible. Just to put that into perspective, the guava gas that they dropped not that long ago literally only came out to like 0.7, which is criminally low for the company, right? For Klutch Cannabis, their stuff is usually popping way over 2%. But let me go ahead and show you guys here. So now that we got that beat up and busted out the way, I will tell you guys right now, this definitely was more fluffy than the rainbow ice. It's super sticky. This literally rolled itself. And guys, I'm like I said, not to toot my own horn, but for a regular 1 1/4 with no tip, no filter, I'm I'm a little bit proud of the roll here, guys. I dang near pearled that boy. It's perfectly rolled. There's nothing falling out either side. We're pretty seasoned in rolling J's anyway, if I'm being honest, guys, but I rolled this one just a little bit better even than the rainbow ice that we just covered yesterday, and that stuff was burning stupid. I'm talking about dumb stupid. But since this is a little bit fluffier than the rainbow ice, I'm kind of curious to see how this actually ends up burning, guys. So before we go ahead and spark that up, let me go ahead and go over the individual terps in here. And before we even do that, let me go ahead and give you guys, listen, I kind of already smelled this stuff a little bit, but still, we have not tried it yet, right? So not my first reaction, but basically like my third reaction to smelling this stuff, all right? Live for you guys, okay? I wish I could do it the first time when I open these, but since I always upload what the flower looks like, I always kind of know like slightly what it smells like going into the review, right? I wish that it didn't have to be that way. The only way I could change that is if I literally just didn't show you guys what it looked like, and where's the fun in that, right? Sheesh. Oh, sheesh. Come on, man. This is about to have me singing songs, dude. That smells immaculate, bro. The website's saying that it's like 0.5% less in total terpene than the rainbow ice, but if I'm being honest, it's about just as pungent just cracking open the top of this jar. Oh my good gracious, bro. It smells a lot like grapes. It really, really does. In almost like a natural way. It definitely does not smell artificially like grape. And that's a good indicator for somebody like me. I don't like my cannabis to taste artificially like anything. So it's like a Welch's grape juice type of aroma. And I actually do prefer that type of grape terp. Oh yeah, dude. It's not super offensive though when it comes to the nose off the funkiness, right? Like, The first time I smelled this, the way that it hit my palate initially, I thought that there was a little bit more funk coming out of this jar than there actually is right now. And I'm going into this off of a fresh palate, guys. The only thing that I've actually intook since I woke up this morning was coffee. So we haven't hit any THC today. I haven't had anything else. And I don't even have coffee in front of me. We got some clean bottled water. So the palate going into this is completely refreshed. That smells absolutely dumb, stupid, ridiculous, guys. Let me go ahead and pull one of these bad boys out. Now, we are on live, guys. If you know, you know. You're not going to be able to see this in full HD high definition. I'll try to show you guys a close-up, but you'll see what I'm saying. See what I'm saying, Savage Army? Even that, not doing this stuff justice. If you really want to see what this stuff looks like up close and personal, just go ahead and check out the short that I uploaded of this and the Rainbow Ice 2 days ago? All right, man. Let's see here. Who we got in here, by the way? We got Fish and Chips is back up in here. Cliff is up in here. In the name of Jesus, man, this is what I'm talking about. Listen, I haven't seen some of you guys tune in such a long time. It truly is heartwarming. You guys have absolutely no idea. And for anybody that hasn't really caught the gist of the Savage's new stream schedule yet, let's go over it briefly one more time. For anybody that's just now joining the stream, by the way, if you guys do enjoy the stream, hit it with some positivity, man, and smash it with a big, fat, juicy Savage thumbs up. But listen, so we're going to be doing this review today, but for the next 5 to 6 days, we're going to be prioritizing the Bible studies, the spiritual growth, the devotionals, and all that type of stuff, the life coaching, essentially, if I want to boil it down and just kind of condense what I'm talking about here. And we're only going to be doing reviews in Savage Gaming. As far as right now, right, and this is probably not going to change for the foreseeable future, we're only going to be doing stuff like this for the weekend. So for all the people who really enjoy this type of content, support it, man. Like the stream, drop chats, engage, drop comments. Let me know what you guys are roasting on as we're doing this, and it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I thought that these were going to be back to stay when I first came back to doing it for 420, but just with my personal circumstances and some of the stuff that I was going through at that time, I was still kind of in the infancy of getting back up on my feet. It wasn't really plausible for me to be doing these full time anymore, and to be honest, we're still not going to be doing them full time, but we're going to be doing them consistently. So from Friday to Sunday, it's Savage Gaming and live stream sessions, reviews, and just straight up real life conversations, right? We just might be seshing while we're having those conversations. And then Monday through Friday, it's going to be all for the Lord, guys. And even when we do this type of stuff, I glorify Jesus Christ no matter what I'm talking about. In the name of Jesus, amen. So everybody drop an amen in the chat and let's get into this, man. So Day One Savage Hubalicious and Day One Savage Cliff, drop it in the chat and let me know. Day One Savage Austin, you as well. Let me know what you guys are twisting up and roasting on. And if any of you savages have tried this already before me, you guys already know what's up, man. You guys got to drop it in the chat as well and let me know what you guys scored this and what you guys thought about it. So the Rainbow Ice yesterday got a 9.1 out of 10. First thing from Klutch I've tried in the last 2.5 to 3 months. Pretty impressive, I'm not going to lie, especially since I roasted on the second doobie of it before I went to bed last night, and it smoked even better than the first. I have pretty high hopes and expectations for this, guys. So, when was this stuff packaged, right? It was harvested. Listen to this, guys. Sheesh. This stuff was harvested on 4/20 of 2026. Absolutely perfect harvest date, right? Harvested on 4/20, packaged on June 22nd, 2026. So it's not uberly fresh. It's not quite as fresh as the Rainbow Ice. That stuff was packaged at the very beginning of July, and we're still at the tail end of July here. But all things considered, guys, it was packaged at the end of June. That's still not even a month and a half past the package date. So I'm expecting this to taste really good. I'm expecting this to taste like it's fresh and to be smooth all the way down to the bare gristle of the roach. And honestly, guys, I can kind of tell. I've been doing this for long enough period of time at this point that when I roll something up in my hands, there's something about the texture, the consistency, and the way that it looks, smells, just everything about it, right? From the bag appeal to the aroma to the way that it feels in your fingers. I can kind of tell by the time I twist it up, whatever strain that is, at least a decent idea, right, of how good it's going to be burning. If I was to give you guys my honest thoughts and opinions before we even try this stuff out, I would tell you guys that I'm pretty confident this is going to burn ridiculous. I'm just being honest. It is still sticky on the outside of the paper, and I rolled this up about an hour ago, guys, because there was so much background noise going on with my neighbors and stuff about an hour ago. We had to postpone the stream a little bit, so I rolled this an hour ago, and it still feels super sticky on the outside of the paper, guys. pretty big green flag, if I'm being honest. You guys know how I feel about dry flower. So I'm pretty excited for this, guys. What's the terpene looking like in milligrams? Leading the way again, just like the rainbow ice. This is leading the way in limonene, just like that was yesterday, but not quite as much. That was around 8 mg. This is coming in at only 5.37, followed by linalool at 4.34, myrcene coming in at 4.7, caryophyllene coming in at 1.8, B-pinene coming in at 0.76, terpineol coming in at 0.57, and then last but not least, I'm not really that thrilled to see this terp, but it is in here, terpinolene coming in at 0.56. If I have to sit here and really like come off the top of my head with what on the general consensus for the average consumer, what I would think to be like the least favorite terpene out of any terp that you could find in marijuana, right? It would most likely be terpinolene, because that terp right there, just on average, tends to give a lot of people like heavy sensations of anxiety. And you find that specific terpene in quite a lot of like high, superly, profoundly strong citrus sativas. So it's kind of interesting to see that in here. This is labeled as a hybrid dominant flower. And judging on the stuff that's crossed in it, I'm not really expecting this to feel too uplifting. I'm expecting this to really primarily hit me like a full-blown, full-on indica, guys. So that's my thoughts before we even light this stuff up. That looked like a rack of 8 different terpenes. There were only 7 on the rainbow ice. So just comparing and contrasting, the only differences that I'm kind of noticing right away, that was more dense flower. This is more fluffy. They both were really sticky, but this one's a little bit more cured than that one was. This has a snap when it comes to the actual nuggets, whereas the rainbow ice literally had no snap whatsoever. It honestly just straight peeled apart. And I really like to see that most of the time, but sometimes it's not the end of the world to have a little bit of a snap when it comes to your flower. In fact, a lot of connoisseurs that I have actually had the pleasure of meeting and talking to one-on-one personally actually prefer to see a snap when it comes to their flower, when it comes to their buds, guys. I'm not necessarily like that, but this would be a primary example of why that's actually the case, because this was not overly sticky. So let's go ahead and cut the Yap Fest, guys. We went over like 10-15 minutes longer than I wanted to by the time we sparked this up. So for anybody that's just now joining the stream, drop it in the comments section if you guys are roasting on anything as well on this Fine and Divine Sunday. And this is going to be the Syrupz. The baseline runs cross Mac, Alien Cookie, and the Great Pie from Klutch Cannabis. Are they going to hit 2 for 2? That's what the Savage is here to find out, guys. The Syrupz from Klutch. Cheers. Ooh wee. I can tell you guys this right out the gate, just from that dry hit. Those musty, almost like the notes that you would pick up also from like a Platinum OG, also kind of are like reminiscent in the Mac 1 a lot of the times. That's the note that I was picking up just from that dry hit, like a super musty. It is funky, but it's not like overly funky. It's not overly offensive like a GMO or anything like that, or even like a peanut butter breath. Oh, Savage Army. Savage, listen, I've been doing this for long enough now. I can usually tell this is probably going to be burning dumb, stupid, ridiculous. We'll, of course, have to see how it actually burns as it goes down, but that's a pretty good indicator. It's already sweating all the way around the tip of the J. We literally just took like a baby hit and a half. That's how I know it's going to burn good, because most weed, right, unless it's like the best of the best, you're not getting completely domed out white ash as soon as you spark it up, and you're definitely not getting that thick, delicious resin ring before you actually start getting it going. Oh, yeah, dude, this is going to rip. Let's see here. Cliff said, hey, man, that's what I'm talking about, man. Who Belicious said, I got a papaya melon live rosin pen from Frosty Farms cross Brave Farm. Woo! Frosty Farms cross Brave Farmer. I'm not going to sit here and hold you, Day One Savage, Who Belicious. I've never heard of Frosty Farms, but you already know my opinion, and I ain't even tried it yet. Just from the stuff that I've seen and the good stuff that I've heard from so many different people in the community, right, about Brave Farmer cross Frosty Farms, the papaya melon live rosin pen. You're the third person in the last 2 days to kindly remind me in a roundabout way that I've been meaning to pick up, not a live resin one specifically or anything, guys, but I really have been meaning to pick up one of the eye crushers. Not necessarily from Klutch Cannabis, from any other companies, right? Because Certified initially came out with the eye crusher disposables, right? The Dank Tanks, they were the first one in Ohio. I'm pretty sure, somebody in the chat correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am, that ever did them, right? And ever since Certified came out with it, I literally have not heard the end of trying an eye crusher. I tried one of the full spectrum ones from Klutch, and right now, guys, at regular baseline price, without a sale, without a medical card, you can get any of the full spectrum offerings from Klutch in terms of the eye crusher for $30 out the door. But let's take that a step further. If you do have a medical card, most of the dispensaries that I've been scouring the menu lately, the past few days, just kind of checking to see how things have kind of come along and progressed since I stopped doing the reviews consistently. Every single one of those dispensaries with a med card, you can get an eye crusher disposable pen from Klutch Cannabis right now for as low as $18 to $22. I'm talking Josh D, I'm talking Cookies, and I'm talking the regular Citizen by Klutch line. Freaking $18 to $22. Are you kidding me, dude? One of the best pen, I'm telling you guys. And how exciting is that now that I just reminded myself by saying that out loud? I have yet to this day even try a Josh D pen at all, whether that be a luster pod or a disposable eye crusher or a Cookies luster pod or a disposable eye crusher from Klutch Cannabis. I haven't tried any of them, Savage Army. I'm sitting here just thinking right now, what would the Blue Raz full spectrum eye crusher be hitting like? The Blue Raz, right? Or the Saint Tropez, some of these really fire Cookies offerings that I loved, absolutely love flower form. I bet they would be absolutely killer in an eye crusher disposable pen. So thank you kindly in a roundabout way, Hoobalicious. You're like the third person in the last couple of days. To kindly remind me of that, the next time I do stop in at Klutch, I'm definitely picking up an eye crusher, man. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Speaking of the eye crusher from Klutch, the video that I did on the first one I tried almost right after they came out is right now to this day one of the most successful in terms of like reach and engagement reviews that I actually have on my channel. Right underneath the strawberry, I think it's the strawberry diesel number 5 flower from Certified review. Right underneath of that is the eye crusher review that I did last year when I was still getting gang stalked, man. God is good in the name of Jesus, man. The only one that can truly move mountains in any of our lives is the Lord Jesus Christ. Sheesh. Savage Army. Oh man, listen, I wanted to show you guys how clean that cherry was looking already. Let me go ahead and bring y'all in under the light real quick so you can see just a little bit better. This stuff is roasting right now, man. I don't know how well you guys, hold up. Let me use this light. It'll probably be a little bit better. Oh yeah. Completely domed out. That is not flaky in the slightest bit, Savage Army. Come on, man. A little bit of pepper on the backside, and I do mean a little bit. Honestly, though, if I complained about that, that would be the most petty complaint of all time because it's literally just a little itty-bitty piece of the paper on the backside. Now, I will say this, and I'll explain here in a second. This is burning every bit as good as the Rainbow Ice did, okay? But in terms of the way that it's hitting on the inhale, I do have a couple of things to kind of explain and go over here. I got some thoughts when it comes to the inhale. But just judging off that, Savage Army, and also I am also noticing that this is burning just a little bit faster than the Rainbow Ice was burning yesterday. It burned probably twice as long as this is. We're almost approaching halfway down, and we literally just started roasting on this not even 5 minutes ago. So these are just, listen, guys, I've been doing this for a while, so I kind of get a little bit petty when it comes to actually critiquing all these different strains. And when you have a company that's as consistent, right, for the most part, they've dipped in quality here and there, but for the most part, they're so consistent. They're really competing with themselves at the end of the day, right? So even the most minor petty complaints that I'm thinking of right now, in the grand scheme of things, this is burning like some absolute gas, guys. I can't even hold y'all. Oh, yeah, dude. What am I giving this, dude? Baseline 9 on the burn from the Rainbow Ice. If I'm being honest, man, you know what? I don't know if I can actually sit here and say that this is burning prettier than the Rainbow Ice, but how aesthetically pleasing is that, Savage Army? I mean, the glisten from the terp ring, it is completely white all the way around, and there is not a smidge of flake, completely domed and rounded out. That is literally a magazine cherry. That is magazine level quality when it comes to the burn. There's literally nothing to complain about, like literally nothing. So I think it's in line with the Rainbow Ice baseline 9. I'm in a little bit of a generous mood today though, Savage Army, and honestly, man, I think it deserves every bit of a Nizhny 9.1 out of 10 when it comes to the burn. I mean, guys, is there anything to complain about? Look at that. It's literally perfect. And listen, even though I'm sitting here saying it's perfect, I always leave room to improve on my grading scale, which is why you guys literally never hear me score anything a perfect 10, and I don't think I ever will. For that reason alone, so that if I try something that's better, we have room to improve. You know what I mean? That's a 9.1 out of 10. Look at the pool of resin. That is absolutely ridiculous, letting you know and indicating that it actually does have a decent bit of terpene here and flavor. That's a heavy hitting roast. That's like the best word I could think of to describe it right now, just off the top of my dome piece. It's heavy. It's not harsh, but when you inhale, it's heavy, bro. Like, you can tell that you're roasting on something that's got a decent bit of like fully developed trichomes. You know what I mean? Like, fully developed. The cure on this, absolutely dumb, stupid, ridiculous. This is getting a 9.1 when it comes to the burn. When it comes to the flavor here, I'm picking up the alien cookie almost more than anything else. The grape pie may be slightly underneath of that, but I'd be a liar if I sat here and said that the flavor here is evenly distributed amongst everything that's crossed in this stuff, because that's not really what I'm picking up here, guys. I think the Mac is definitely dominating this without a shadow of a doubt, but I'm not getting the cheese, which is like the thing that I like the most about the Mac 1 from Klutch Cannabis. This is absolutely fire though, dude. If you're into like dank, but you like a little bit of sweetness at the same time, it's not, you know what? That's a better word to describe it. It's not super funky. This one is gassy. This is not funky. This is gassy. It's heavy on the inhale, not in a harsh way. It's, as you see here, we're halfway down and I have not coughed one time. Super flush, super smooth on the inhale. So when I say it's heavy, I'm not saying that it's harsh. It's still very smooth. But you can tell that this is some pack, dude. Halfway down as well, we're going to get into this in just a second. I am already starting to feel the effects of this. And for something that's only coming out to be not even 24% when it comes to the Delta 9, like overall and all encompassed, the fact that I'm already picking up effects is kind of impressive, guys. I'm not going to lie. The stuff, just to put it into perspective, the stuff we did yesterday was literally approaching 32%, man. Sheesh. 32 in today's market after they changed the law for testing. I'd be scooping that up no matter what company was putting it out, as long as it was fresh. But like I said, we were kind of talking about before we even started this review, right? When people are going to the dispensary to purchase cannabis, they're not always going looking for a purchase in mind that kind of correlates to, let me just get the strongest stuff. Let me just get the strongest THC percentage, right? Let me just get whatever is going to help me with my medical problems and whatever I'm using the plant for. And you could probably save a lot of money if you did either one of those things, even surprisingly with the THC percentage, right? And you might be like, how could you get the strongest stuff for cheap? Cheaper than what you're doing right now, right? Because THC percentage at the end of the day doesn't really correlate almost at all to the pricing of the flower unless you're talking about Buckeye Relief. Buckeye Relief is the only company that I know for a fact that correlates the prices of their packs to the THC percentage. And what do I mean by that, right? If you get a Buckeye Relief pack of flower and it's 30%, that's going to be for sure one of the more expensive packs that they offer. If you get the Sour Blue Diesel, which only usually comes in between 16% and like 19.5%, that's going to be usually one of the cheaper offerings from Buckeye Relief. And that's pretty much no matter what dispensary you go to, but I say pretty much because I have seen certain dispos sell Buckeye Relief's flower for almost triple the price that their stuff usually goes for. You want to be picking Buckeye Relief up through the botanist, if I'm being honest, because I'm pretty sure that the botanist has like a contract or a deal with Buckeye Relief, and their stuff is like half the price of all the other dispensaries on average, right? If you just pick it up through the botanist. Guys, the flavor on this is dumb stupid. I can't even lie. Real quick, Inked Up Jesus. Good job, Average, on being educated on the strains, the flower, the terps, the CBA. Thank you so much, brother, and thank you so much for joining the stream. Every single one of you guys, man. It's a pleasure to have you guys here. Thank you so much for that, Inked Up. The CBD is the Delta 9s and all that stuff that has to come with our beautiful herbal flower. Thank you so much for explaining, brother. Thank you so much for joining the stream. God bless each and every single one of you guys. And if any of you guys are enjoying the stream, hit it with a big fat juicy savage thumbs up. It helps the algorithm here. It helps the stream get pushed out to more savages. More savages can see what the state of Ohio is offering in terms of their medicinal, and recreational flower, which, to be honest, I was a massive fan of the products we have in Ohio when I started doing reviews. But to the point that we're at now, Savage Army, if I'm being real with you guys, their stuff is at least double as good as it used to be, man. And here's the kicker when it comes to the state of Ohio. Here's the real kicker, right? When it comes to these companies, it is against the law for any of these companies or these cannabis brands in Ohio to advertise their stuff. That's why you never see any advertisement for any of these companies. Klutch Cannabis is a pretty big company at this point, right? But if you weren't in the scene or the industry on some level, or even at least within the community, like a lot of people here that are watching the reviews now, right? You would have no idea what Klutch Cannabis is. Like, you would have never heard of it before in your God-given life. Why is that? Because they're not allowed to advertise anything. They're not allowed to say, hey, with a commercial or advertisements on social media and stuff. Whereas a lot of other legal states, guys, if you've ever been to Michigan, this is why as soon as you cross over and you reach going into Michigan, the first thing that you're going to see is a massive billboard advertising that marijuana is legal in that state. You don't see stuff like that in the state of Ohio, guys. It's so different, the vibe of going to a dispensary in Michigan than it is to do it here. In the state that I'm living in the state of Ohio, it is much more advertisement friendly. Dude, I even had a dispensary in Michigan tell me when I was in the first 2 years of my content here on YouTube, right? When I was literally still just the weed critic, that if I did a video and a review on their dispensary and I emailed them the link to it, that I would get like a gift card or a coupon, one of the two, to get a bunch of free products, right? They don't even do stuff like that in the state of Ohio, Savage Army. And people wonder why you don't see that many people covering any Ohio cannabis. Because if you just don't straight up have love for the game, it's not really very incentive friendly. You're not going to get too much out of it, if that makes any type of sense, guys. You truly just got to love what you're doing at the end of the day. And that really goes for anything you're doing when it comes to content creation, or maybe you want to be a musician or an artist or a painter or an athlete. You truly have to love doing it to make it worthwhile to go through the period of time in the beginning where you have to grind and grind and grind with basically little to no reward to get through on the other side to actually see some type of success doing whatever you're doing. If that makes any type of sense, guys. That's why I always tell people who ask me questions about like my opinion or any type of advice that I would be willing to offer when it comes to like going after your dreams and trying to break free from the matrix and start walking on that path towards that direction and that reality, right? And the number one thing I always say, guys, is no matter what you're doing, you cannot listen to the opinions of other people, because most people are going to try and motivate you to just be miserable like them. They are definitely not going to enjoy seeing somebody they view as being beneath them going after something that they want in their life. And especially when you get results after so long of putting in the work and grinding, they're going to hate it so much that some of those people might literally and physically try to stop you from doing it, right? So you definitely got to make sure you love what you're doing enough to deal with all the stuff that comes with starting down that path. And then at the end of the day, when it comes to YouTube, Savage Army, and especially cannabis on YouTube, you got to look at it like everything's already stacked against you at the end of the day, right? They're not going to push the content. They're not going to notify people about the content. It's going to be very hard to get, because if you don't have a YouTube account that's over 18, nobody's going to be able to see it, essentially, at the end of the day, unless you're somebody that's already doing something else and then starting cannabis. So if you're wanting to do something in the cannabis industry, one of the best ways to get your foot in the door, I initially thought it would be doing stuff like this. But what I much more understand now, all these years later, one of the best and easiest ways to get your foot in the door for the cannabis industry is to literally bombard all the dispensaries and grow facilities for an entry-level job. Now, keep in mind, you're probably not going to get it when you first apply, because so many people try to get those jobs, but it's persistence, man. It's being persistent and just never showing or never stopping showing up to go for what you want to do. Excuse the background noise, Savage Army. Like I said at the start of the stream, there's been quite a bit of drama with my neighbors today and stuff like that, but it is what it is. Irregardless, we're pushing through anyway. Here's what I'm going to say on this. Approaching the last quarter of the J when it comes to this Syrupz from Klutch Cannabis, it's starting to get resonated to the point where you almost have to pull on it harder to get a decent hit. And I think that's akin to just how, even with the snap, guys, when I rolled this stuff up, the joint basically rolled itself. Like literally basically rolled itself. And that is how you know you've got some properly cured flower. I always tell people that struggle with rolling J's or even blunts, if you're struggling with rolling, start rolling with blunts. Not because you like smoking blunts. I never liked smoking blunts, but I used to smoke blunts because when I didn't know how to roll a joint, I would start with blunts. Blunts are a lot easier to learn how to roll than starting to roll good joints right out the gate. I don't know if I've ever met anybody that started rolling J's as a beginner and like right out the gate they started purling joints and stuff like that. I'm sure there's people like that out there that actually do exist, but I've never personally seen it. But before you resort to packing a cone, which is going to cause you to lose a ton of flavor and also add to the harshness overall of whatever you're roasting on, before you give up completely on trying to learn how to roll a proper J, look up some YouTube tutorials, practice with blunt shells, because I promise you, once you learn how to roll a blunt, it's going to be a whole heck of a lot easier to get over that initial learning curve and eventually learn how to roll a good J. When I initially first ever learned how to roll a good joint, I never looked back. I didn't buy another pack of Swisher Sweets, of White Owls, of something that you guys might not even know what I'm talking about. I used to get something that was called freaking Good Times, bro. Good Times cigarillos. And the reason I would get those all the time is because it was the only like Swisher type cigar that you could literally get 4 of them for the same price as you would get 2 for any other brand. I don't know how we got on. Oh, rolling. Guys, I'm getting a little bit distracted with the background noise. I'm going to migrate just a little bit. Give me a second, y'all. We're going to go ahead and finish it in the bathroom, Savage Army. I would typically never do that, but the neighbors are just on some absolutely goofy monkey business today, boy. Sheesh. So far on the Syrupz from Klutch Cannabis, this is getting a 9.1 out of 10 when it comes to the burn. It's been burning absolutely beautiful ever since we first put that flame to the pape. Absolutely divine. Really nothing to complain about whatsoever. I will say this at this point. Now that it's down to the last quarter of the J, and I did roll the end of this a little bit skinnier than the rest of the J. I put most of the material in the first like 3/4 of the paper, right? We got a little bit of flakiness going on here at this point now, but this has been like the first point in the entire joint where I've seen even a speck of pepper in the paper literally whatsoever. So I'm not going to be majorly knocking any points off for that, and we don't ever really change our score when we actually get to a final verdict in the first place, guys. So the burn on the Syrupz is getting a nizzy 9.1. The flavor on the Syrupz, I like the Rainbow Ice a little bit more in terms of the flavor. I can't sit here and lie to you, savages. I got to keep it a bean 75, right? A $1.50. The flavor on the Rainbow Ice is delectable, dude. I'm not going to sit here and hold you guys a bit. That stuff tasted ridiculous. And the second joint that I roasted on before bed last night tasted even better. If I reviewed it when I hit that second one, it would have got a better score on the flavor for sure. That tastes absolutely ridiculous. And by the end of the jar, I'm going to have a solid opinion of if I like the lemon ice more or if I like the rainbow ice more. Right now, I don't know because I haven't had the lemon ice in an exceptionally decent period of time. Like an exceptionally decent period of time, Savage Army, since they really came out with it, to be honest. But when they did come out with the lemon ice, the Savage, really, dude, I literally bought them out of stock at one point. I bought the last few remaining jars, I think more than once, if my memory serves correctly, if I'm not mistaken. I fell in love with that. It was like love at first sight with the Savage and the lemon ice. The rainbow ice is really good too, man. It's super exquisite, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and just say this. The rainbow ice so far has been the best thing that I've tried from Klutch since last summer. I mean, I'm being dead serious. When it comes to anything new that I've tried from them, the 6 strains that I tried for the Savage's 4 Days of 420 we did a couple months ago, they were all really good. It was all great flower in terms of the quality itself, but the flavor was like either very, very underwhelming, okay, for lack of a better word, or it wasn't like flavorful literally whatsoever. And for Klutch Cannabis, they're primarily known for how loud their terps are, okay? At least Does anybody else feel differently? Does anybody else feel like Klutch Cannabis is known for something other than that? I mean, the quality and the consistency, I would say overall for sure, right? Hopefully we can come back out here now, Savages. We'll just see how it goes. But does anybody else feel like Klutch is known for something even more than the terps, right? Because for me personally, the reason I fell in love with their stuff initially in the first place is because they were one of the only brands in the program at that time that actually had sticky flower. That was one of the biggest reasons. And number two, their stuff literally tasted better than any weed I've ever smoked in my entire life. At the time that I first tried Klutch, right? For sure. And I still kind of remember like one of the first things that I tried. It was actually the regular baseline ice cream cake. Very first strain I had ever tried from Klutch Cannabis, right, Savages? What a strain to start with, too, because at that period of time, their ice cream cake was just ridiculous, dude. Ridiculous. Slap your mama good. Like, literally the best tasting cannabis I had ever had in my life leading up to that point. I don't know about the ice cream cake that they're putting out there right now today, but back when it was more of like a small batch offering in their select lineup, if you guys are like OG Ohio cannabis purchasers or consumers, excuse me, you guys know what I'm talking about. They used to have like a select line of flower that was supposedly better than their other stuff. So what I mean by select, they used to have like the glass jars like they still have today, but they looked a little bit differently. All the strains were either silver labeled or they were gold labeled, right? The silver labeled strains were just like their regular shelf level of strains, right? Like still fantastic stuff. Don't get it twisted. I can personally attest to that. But what they were kind of like putting out there for people is that the gold labels were better than everything else that they had, right? And in the beginning of me actually doing the videos and reviews and actually even having my med card, right, Savage Army? Ice cream cake was the first thing I tried, and it was a gold labeled select jar of Klutch Cannabis flower. Dude, it blew my mind. It literally tasted like actual dessert, like nothing else I've ever tried in my entire life. And that's how I actually first got introduced to terpenes and like all this different stuff. And now I'm super educated on the plant and cannabis, THC and hemp and all that stuff in general. But at that point in time, that's what led me down the rabbit hole, bro, was that first ever initial experience with the ice cream cake from Klutch Cannabis. An absolutely phenomenal experience it was, guys. So we're getting to the tail end of the stream here, Savage Army. I'm glad we actually did get to beat this up and get it out the way. I'm super crunched for time today, Savages, so I was kind of nervous we weren't even going to be able to get it done. But I'm glad that we did, and I'm glad we got to try this today, man. This is some absolutely phenomenal stuff. And I think for the flavor, let's just get that out the way right now before we move on over to the effect. This stuff tastes really good. It does not taste quite as good, in my opinion, right? This is the Savages review. You guys may feel differently. I mean, potentially, depending on what type of terps you guys are into, right? For me, the Rainbow Ice was just a little bit better than this. This still tastes really, really good. And let me just say this, right? And this might be a better way of explaining it. If you compare this to the 6 strains that I tried for 420, I think this would have been one of the like better tasting strains out of all of those. So just in comparison's sake to the stuff that they were putting out 2 months ago even, which wasn't that long ago. I mean, honestly, 2 months ain't really that long. You know what I mean? So from then to now, honestly, this is an improvement. This one and the Rainbow Ice, I like that one a little bit more overall, but for only being 23.5% on the THC and also being a little bit underneath the overall terpene concentration compared to the Rainbow Ice, this isn't that much underneath. I mean, it's not quite as tasty in my opinion, but I think the amount of flavor and the amount of terp is really neck and neck, if that makes sense. I personally prefer the flavor on the ice, right? On the Rainbow Ice. But it doesn't really have that much less in terms of like how loud it actually is, right? That's a better way of explaining that, guys. So I think in terms of just everything here, from the way that it smells to the way it tastes and the way it kind of translates from one to the other, it doesn't perfectly translate. It don't taste exactly the way it smells. The aroma on this is definitely more like grape heavy than it is on the flavor. The flavor is definitely more like funky heavy and gassy. And I would even say gassy more than funky, with some of those grape notes kind of mixing in more so on the back end. And just like as this doobie burns down, it initially starts heavy on the inhale, not harsh. It's really smooth. I didn't cough one single time the entire way down on that J, which it's we're not lighting that back up again, guys. I got a decent effect off that, even though we didn't even finish the last quarter, and it's substantially weaker in terms of the THC. So for what that tells each and every single one of you savages, okay? So my overall rating here for the Syrupz from Klutch Cannabis, just underneath, I think, man. 9.1 on the Rainbow Ice. I think this, without a shadow of a doubt, deserves every bit of a 9 on the flavor. I don't think that's very much underneath what I felt about the flavor on the Rainbow Ice, and I think that was also a baseline 9 as well. I think they're really neck and neck. I don't think one's like less potent than the other. I just think for whoever likes that type of flavor, you're going to like that one more. For whoever likes this type of flavor, which is really more of like a really grapey, gassy type of flavor, and you do pick up a little bit of the runts, but like I said, guys, in the aroma, you smell more of like the baseline runts, more so a little on the back end. It's still not very prominent. I can't really taste it that much at all when it comes to the actual flavor here, but overall, I think it smells great. It's sticky. It looks great. I wish it was a little bit more dense. Overall, if that was a 9.1, this is getting a baseline 9. Overall, with the effect in mind, the bag appeal in mind, the way it rolled up, super sticky. Cure was ridiculous. Super flush. Didn't cough one single time the entire J. That's some tippy top shelf grade A cannabis, man. So the question of the week, it seems, is Klutch Cannabis back? Like I said, I don't really think Klutch Cannabis ever left necessarily, but their stuff was definitely dipping in quality. I don't know, man. So far, they're 2 for 2. The Rainbow Ice was a 9.1. The Syrupz from Klutch Cannabis, which is Grape Pie, Miracle Alien Cookie crossed with a baseline runts. That just sounds ridiculous. That's what really pushed me over the edge to even pick that one up in the first place. If you guys enjoy this review or the stream at any given point in time, smack it. Just like the Terps would smack your mama on that Rainbow Ice and on this Syrupz here, man. Some absolutely great, a delectable fire. So if you guys have not tried this out yet, I think I picked it up on sale. So I'll just put it like this. At full price with no sale, no discount, right? I got a 20% discount because I had a medical card and they were running that type of sale on the day I picked it up. But if you were getting this full price, I would definitely pick up the Rainbow Ice over this, ever so slightly, just because, and maybe that's a personal preference, but I do think the overall quality is a little bit better when it comes to that. And by the way, mind you, both of them are classified as hybrid dominant strains, which, by the way, the effects on this one, which we are about to, let's just get into it now, right? We already kind of went over a little bit. I planned on doing this like 45 minutes. We're about an hour and 10 minutes in. It is what it is, guys. I enjoy doing these, man. Time flies when we're doing streams. Sometimes I'll literally start streaming, look up, and we've been doing it for like 4 hours, and it feels like I've only been doing it for an hour. Time flies, man. So it is what it is. I'm just glad we ended up actually being able to get these done. And first couple reviews back after like, what? The last time we did reviews was a couple months ago, and the last time before that was several months, bro. So it's just a blessing, man. I just feel super grateful. I'm super... that's the best way to put it. I'm grateful, bro. I wasn't planning on even being able to do these again in the first place. You guys have no idea. Some of the unseen battles that I don't share with all you savages are some of the toughest, bro. In the last couple months, the battles and the trials and the tests that I had to go through on my own personal time just to be able to come back and do this in the first place, bro. You guys have no idea what's coming, man. We're just getting started. So on that note, the Syrupz from Klutch Cannabis is a baseline 9 out of 10. Absolutely fire, loud, and delectable pack. It's better than most of the stuff they drop for 420. Mind you, I didn't get to try all the stuff that they did drop for 420. But overall, this is some absolutely ridiculous flower. I picked it up on sale 20% off for like $33 plus tax. I would say if you picked it up on sale like I did, this is absolutely worth every single penny. This is some grade A tippy top shelf cannabis. And honestly, I've come to expect no less when it comes to this brand, some of Ohio's finest. Now, it's debatable. There are a lot of savages, and me included. I love other brands too, man. I love certified cultivators. I've been known to love Buckeye Relief. And Buckeye Relief for a time, I don't know if they're doing it now, but Buckeye Relief for a period of time was selling remediated flower. How many of you guys even know what remediated flour is, Savage Army? I didn't know before I found out about it. And I found out because I was actually working at the dispensary, right? Remediated flour basically means that it has mold growing on it, right? Flour that has mold growing on it. And they basically put it through these machines that radiate the mold off of it. They put the flour through radiation in series of radiation, right? And then they sell it at a discounted price, and then people smoke it. I don't know how long Buckeye Relief has been doing stuff like that. And right now, if I'm being real with you guys, and I've been on the record and said this plenty of times, I'm a fan of their stuff, and I've been a fan of their stuff for some time, right? At the time that I found out that they were doing that is when I was covering a lot of the Klutch Cannabis Summer 2025 drops that they were releasing last summer in the middle of my satanic ritual abuse and the gang stalking and all that absolute wickedness and garbage, right? 2026 so far for Klutch Cannabis is shaping up to be at least as good as last year, if not better, because they are dropping just more stuff. As soon as you think you've caught up, they come out with another 6 strains. I think they're on fire right now, if I'm being honest, guys. And even though I am just recently returned to doing the critic side for Ohio, and we're here to stay, it's super exciting. What I've tried so far did not disappoint, man. I've come to expect no less, and this is a 9 out of 10. Drop it in the comment section what you guys roasted on. If you roasted on anything over the course of today's stream, if you enjoyed it, double click the screen, hit it with some savage positivity, get this pushed out to other savages so they can join the Savage Army, and hit it with a big fat juicy savage sexy thumbs up. Keep it positive for the rest of the day, Savage Army. Stay prayed up, not laid up, blessed up, not stressed up, and definitely not messed up. And if I give you guys anything today, right, anything that I ask any of my savages to do for the rest of the day, it would be, and even, I would even say, especially if you're going through something hard right now, still make it a priority to not only put a smile on your face, but try to extend that sauce to other people and put a smile on somebody else's face. You have no idea the character, right? God loves these types of things. And when you live your life with the base foundation of being grateful for everything that God gives you and every single thing that God's done for you and pulled you out of, the smallest of things can make you so enormously grateful. When you have this foundation in the center of everything in your life, you don't have any idea the stuff that you guys are capable of doing, man, truly. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart in the name of Jesus Christ, man. Even if you are going through it, I was basically homeless last summer. You have absolutely no idea what you're capable of when you try to love a little more and hate a little less. In the wise words of Bob Proctor, you guys have no idea what you're capable of doing. So I want to thank each and every single one of you guys for joining this Sunday stream. This is absolutely fire. The Syrupz was a baseline 9 if you guys are just now joining. I love each and every single one of you guys from the bottom of my heart. And before we skate out of here, guys, let me see, man. Hubalicious said, I'm on the Galena's train, man. I think they got my top, wait a second, my top spot now, honestly. I have been needing to do this for such a long period of time. Day One Savage Hubalicious. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and put that in the poll probably either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm going to put a poll out on the channel every single week from now on for you guys to actually vote on the 2 strain reviews that we end up doing every single weekend on the Savages Days Off. Like I said a minute ago, guys, disregard the background noise. My neighbors today are just going absolutely bananas. They might need deliverance in Jesus' name. Sheesh. But I'm going to put Galena's in the poll later on this week. Now, not any specific strain, just Galena's as a brand. I'm going to start this out doing it by brand. And then later on down the road, after we get seasoned and doing these different types of things I'm about to add to the channel, maybe we'll start doing it like strain specific and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But so far for now, for the first week, Galena's is going to be in there. Klutch Cannabis is going to be in there. Certified is going to be in there. And then I'm not sure about the last one, Savage Army. I'm going to have to take a day or two and actually kind of think about that and meditate on it and get back to you guys. Or maybe you guys can shout it out. If there's something you guys have really been wanting to see me cover here on the channel, let me know. It really doesn't matter to me, Savage Army. Honestly, I'm down to try anything. That's kind of the point of being the critic for Ohio. It's just nice to be back, man. That's all I really got to say about it right now. Cliff, Inked Up Jesus, Day One Savage Austin, Day One Savage Hoobalicious, any single one of you guys who stayed for the stream and enjoyed it. I hope each and every single one of you guys enjoy the rest of your day, man. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys were wondering about this stuff, I would say if you got it on sale, if you have a medical card, it is more than worth it. The Syrupz was absolutely fire. I think I like the way it smells just a little bit more than the way it tastes. And by the way, since I didn't really say too much about the effects, man, I'm only really getting very slight effects in the dome piece. It's really not giving you like sativa-like energizing, energetic types of effects. It's definitely primarily indica, but almost in like, it's making my body feel warm, whereas the Rainbow Ice definitely didn't do that. The Rainbow Ice still felt more so leaning into the indica side of things. Don't get it twisted, but it was different than this is given, right? And also that one, the Rainbow Ice definitely felt more sedative, okay? And sleepy, making you feel kind of sleepy after roasting on that one. This one, you can definitely get away with earlier in the day for sure if you have stuff that you have to get done. Yeah, you can definitely get away with it on the Syrupz, man. Like I said, this is only coming in at 23.4% on the overall Delta 9 THCA. So it's not like the craziest strength of flower or anything like that, so to speak. Not like the ice was, right? But in terms of like the overall experience, bro, that's a really well-rounded flower. I can't even complain. There's not one thing that like off the top of my head, I'm like, yeah, this is the thing that ruins the weed. You know what I mean? The flavor was nice. Maybe if it tasted a little bit more like everything together, you know what I mean? I feel like the flavor itself was definitely leaning more so into the alien cookie side of things, which is fine with the Savage, guys, mind you, because Miracle Alien Cookies has always, ever since I first tried it, right, has always been one of my favorite strains of all time, okay? Ever since I first tried the Alien Cookie. So that's not really a gripe in my opinion. But when you consider that the Runts is in there and the Grape Pie is in there as well, I was expecting it to taste a little bit more fruity than it actually does. And if you guys remember, if you've been here the entire stream, when we went over the description on the website, they described the flavor as kind of being like a sweet fruity flavor. You know what I mean? Like a sweet fruitiness, as opposed to like a bitter fruitiness, a sour fruitiness. They even said there was citrus here, and I'm going to be 100% real. I didn't pick up a lick of citrus, not just in the flavor, but in the aroma either. It didn't smell like citrus, and it didn't really taste like citrus at all. It tasted primarily like an extra danky, extra gassy grape gasoline. And I'm a pretty big fan of grape gasoline. Don't get it twisted, guys. With maybe a little bit of like a slight candy type of terp right there on the exhale, at the end of the exhale, but it's barely there, guys. You really have to kind of like dig for it and search for it. So for anybody who was expecting more of like a dessert type strain, or anybody who was expecting more of like a candy type strain, if you were looking for a candy strain, I definitely think you'd be better off with yesterday's strain, the Rainbow Ice. I definitely feel that for sure. But if you're looking for something that you can get away with roasting on earlier in the day, even if you have stuff to do, something that's not too much, like it's not too strong. If you're somebody that struggles with anxiety and things like this actually might be perfect for you. And the biggest reason I say that is because it's really not giving me anything. And I do mean anything in terms of the, like euphoric effects or uplifting effects or anything in the dome piece whatsoever. It's not making me like headlock or anything, or like sometimes certain terpenes in certain sativas can make you have like racing thoughts and things like that. So if you're somebody like me who doesn't really use the plant to mitigate stuff like that personally, right? This really relaxes you, but not in a way that's like, oh my goodness, I have to take a nap. That's what the Rainbow Ice was given. Like after that, if you don't wait too late in the day to roast on something like that, unless your tolerance is just through the roof, right? But you guys know me, if you've been here for a minute, I don't advocate for the abuse of marijuana. I advocate for the beneficial medicinal effects of marijuana used responsibly by responsible adults, if that makes any type of sense, as a much healthier, right? As a much healthier alternative to the stuff that the world tries to give people and the poison that the world tries to put people on, right? Which absolutely nobody needs. unless it's a medication that you're going to die if you don't take it, like insulin for diabetics and stuff like that. Most of the prescriptions that, doctors in America prescribe to people is just some man-made concoction they came up with in a laboratory. You have no idea what they put inside of it. And 9 times out of 10, the medicine they try to put people on for what they're using it for makes those problems worse. And then they give you extra problems, right? Marijuana doesn't do any of those things. It actually alleviates symptoms for a lot of different health problems. It really, really does. But since a lot of people abuse it, do you guys kind of see where the Savage is taking that, man? We don't really advocate for the abuse of marijuana. We advocate for the responsible, respected use by adults who actually are using it to benefit from it, okay? But, for the people who are new to the channel, that might not be so obvious. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here, guys. So, yeah, for Inked Up Jesus, Cliff, Whobalicious, Day One Savage, Austin, let's see here, man. The Game, booze bottles and empty brews on the ground in Ohio. How did I miss that comment? Sheesh, guys. I say this all the time, but I'm going to say it one more time. I feel like for new people who just joined the channel recently, right? I'm really bad at reading the chat sometimes, guys. I don't mean to do that. It's something that I'm being more intentional on working on going forward. So as I do more live streams, since we kind of returned about a week and a half ago, I'm going to try to get better at that every single time, like actually being intentional with engaging in the chat. Because to be honest, man, like when I do my Bible study streams and my devotionals and things like that, a lot of people are watching because they want to ask me questions and stuff, guys. And that's really kind of the point of what I'm doing anyway. So I'm definitely going to be finally, right? Because I've been saying that for a long time, but finally trying to get better at actually engaging more with the chat. I mean, that's like half the point of doing a live stream in the first place, right? Savage Army, sheesh. So I don't know how I missed that, man, but God bless you. And thank you so much for watching the stream. So, man, for anybody that just joined, if you're wondering, we just dusted out the first doobie I've ever tried at the Syrupz from Klutch. It got a Bizity baseline 9 out of 10, just basically slightly, ever so slightly, right? Underneath the quality of this bad boy. Where is it at? Sheesh. Oh man, I got an OG Syrupz head jar from like way back in the day, bro. But that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the Rainbow Ice. I don't even know where I put a Savage Army. But anyway, guys, most of you guys have probably seen that anyway. We did that yesterday if you guys are new to the channel. But it's slightly underneath of that. And I cannot wait to see what they put out and come out with next. And there's a lot of stuff that I would personally like to catch up on, like the OG Kush from Josh D, or the OG Kiss, the Crowd Surfer. They dropped like 4 or 5 new OG Kush crosses under the Josh D line under their Klutch brand. And honestly, guys, if you've been watching me for a minute, you probably know that I'm not like a huge fan of the Josh D line from Klutch, because in my opinion, it was always slightly underwhelming in quality compared to the regular stuff from Klutch, if that makes any type of sense, guys. Like, it was always still really good stuff, but most of the time, on average, in my experience, it just wasn't living up to the standard of the original Klutch stuff. And it's grown by the same people. It's just different genetics, like slightly different genetics, if that makes sense. But recently, when they came out with the Runs OG, ever since then, it seems like they've been like really stepping it up a notch when it comes to the grows and the harvest, when it comes to the strains we're putting out for Josh D. Same for cookies, man. Like, granted, there have been a couple cookie strains that I tried in the past from Klutch that I really didn't like either. I'm thinking about the That Badu personally. And then the other one, bro, the cereal milk. The cereal milk was absolute poop soup. If you guys didn't get a chance to catch that video and that review, it's quite old at this point. But I was so excited to try the cereal milk. That had to have been like the biggest disappointment and the biggest letdown of the channel's history, bro. I mean, I was so excited for the cereal milk because I had never actually tried a legitimate cereal milk ever. So the first time trying it for the cookies brand under Klutch, I mean, I was absolutely stoked, bro. I was absolutely stoked. Tried it and it burned completely black. It didn't taste like barely anything. And it made me, dude, the next day, I didn't even smoke anything, bro, because it was so harsh. It, like, you would have swore, Savage Army, that a different company grew that stuff. Like, it really genuinely did not make any type of sense, guys. Now, I know they put the cereal milk out since then, and they're doing something else now, too, called cinnamon milk. The cinnamon milk from the Cookies collaboration with Klutch. I'm thinking about picking that up soon and trying it. But man, on everything I love, Savage Army, if that ends up being a disappointment, I don't know if I'm ever going to try cereal milk literally ever again. Because, like, the experience I had with that baseline, if the cinnamon milk is just as bad, I'm never trying it again. Because in my mind, it's like, if Klutch Cannabis can't get that genetic right, who else is going to get it right? You know, not like Klutch Cannabis is the best cultivation company in the entire world, but in my mind, like, they're on a certain pedigree of quality, right? Consistently. So if they can't do that genetic justice, in my mind, maybe nobody can. You know what I mean? Same with the Pac-Man Jones. Now, they're still doing the Pac-Man Jones, to my surprise, that being like one of the worst performing strains they've ever released, guys. Like, literally ever released, right? And they're still doing that one. I haven't really tried it since that first initial harvest, which came out to be like 13% THC, criminally low on the THC percentage for that company as well. So, you know, it's kind of interesting that they would bring that one back in the cereal milk, but stuff like the blue cheese and fan favorites have been gone for like 2+ years. It's kind of insane to me, guys. All right, I'm not going to say nothing else about the blue cheese, right, Savage Army? So I hope each and every single one of you guys enjoyed today's stream. I can't wait for next weekend's reviews, and you guys are going to be actually the ones voting on which strains we end up covering. So I hope you guys have an absolutely blessed rest of your day. Thank you guys for joining. If you like the stream, like the stream for real, and double click the screen. And I'm going to actually dip out because if I don't, I'll literally ramble on for 2 hours, and then I'm not going to get the stuff done for the day that I need to get done. So thank each and every single one of you guys who actually took the time out of your Sunday to join the stream. If you enjoyed it, stay tuned for the next one, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Monday Madness live stream and Bible study and daily devotional. Peace. Sheesh.